How to kill a meme 101.
The choices you make.
Oh my gosh! Stop! Oh my gosh!
And that's how, ladies and gentlemen, you overuse and literally kill a meme by using it over and over again. Very cool. But speaking of something over and over again, today we're going back into a world where loopholes are your main story and plot, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, Bendy and the Ink Machine. I know, Smack, what the freak is this game? Excuse me? Wait a minute. What the freak is that? Who the fuck is that? Is what you're asking right now. Well, don't worry, this mofo is 4 years old from 2019 as we speak. And it doesn't even matter because today we're looking at new Bendy Game, its trailer and everything, and most specifically 5 questions that we're going to try to answer in today's video. I know I'm late with this, so pardon me, as I know every theorist ever covered this game by now. However, when I uploaded the trailer video on the channel, you guys showed a genuine interest and seems like okay with me covering it in the future. So here we are, going back into the world of Bendy and the Ink Machine. Now before we begin, one thing I gotta say as a fair warning, that we're not gonna go in details to explain previous games lore, because that's for another video and that would be a waste of time for this video, as we're only covering next game, its trailer, so only important elements. So with that out of the way, today we're gonna answer a few questions. Who the freak is that dude? Or is that even a dude in the trailer? Where does this game fit in the ultimate timeline of Bendy and the Ink Machine universe? What is the meaning behind the text of this game, which was found out through Twitter images on Joey Drew Studios' official Twitter page? Audio logs, meaning that were uploaded on Joey Drew Studios' YouTube channel. Who is this new character that was found in one of the audio logs, which will ultimately gonna answer the mega question of them all. What is this game all about? Alright, for the start, let's talk about the new game. Meatly and Mike Mood, the developers of Bendy and the Ink Machine, created a YouTube channel called Joey Drew Studios. Although they changed the company name from Meatly Games to Kindly Beast, don't know why they did that, but they're advertising Bendy Games, specifically Bendy Games, under the name of Joey Drew Studios. Changed from Meatly Games to Kindly Beast to Joey Drew Studios, specifically for Bendy Games, don't know why. So now we learned a little bit history of this. It's time to talk about the game itself. The original Bendy and the Ink Machine concluded after the release of Chapter 5 last year, where we saw a bizarre ending that opened the door to so many possibilities. One that we're gonna touch in this new game. Ever since people were hyped for the sequel and the second entry in this franchise, both developers were dropping teaser regarding this game here and there, albeit through YouTube videos or a tweet or an image. Fans knew that the next game is in development, and why the fuck not? It's a popular game with more demand. Then after a little bit follow-up of so many audio logs, premieres, we finally get 2 videos that really changes everything. One is this unknown April 14 video, and the other one is the teaser for the next game, Return to the Studio. Now both these videos are important to learn about upcoming game. Firstly, the teaser, it doesn't show much as to what we're getting apart from just, hey, it's a Bendy game, yay. However, the most notable things from the teaser that stood out were Ink Machine being reborn, Alice Angel, the good one, being there, and most specifically that this game will be a choices-based game and it will shape the future of the Bendy universe and Henry's story, the way we choose things around in that world. And finally, this specific shot, which isn't that much of a big deal as people are making it, but since it's there, we're gonna tackle that one as well. So the first question we need to answer is, where does this game fit in the timeline? Well, as from the teaser, we've already established that this is a choices-based game, a little bit different from previous game, but at the same time continuing the same genre of previous one. However, it has throwbacks, so it must be a prequel, right? Or maybe it's the Ink Machine that's being reborn, so a sequel? No. Mike Mood, one of the developers of this game, specifically and explicitly mentioned and confirmed on Twitter that this game is not a prequel, but also not a sequel, which is interesting because if this has all the same characters and universe, it has to be somewhere in the timeline, and if it's in the timeline, it has to be either before or after the main story, meaning a sequel or a prequel. It has to be, unless it is a side story with a mashup of something else, which could work out. But more specifically, my favorite explanation to this, same universe, same story, but different perspective. You see, one of the things we learned in Chapter 5's ending that the main character, Henry, is going through a loophole of time, most specifically, time loop. But time in this universe doesn't matter because Henry is going through the exact same stuff over and over again. We see him riding on the vaults, talking to himself, even helping himself from the future and the past. Timeline is messy. Why? Because the timeline doesn't exist. It doesn't matter anymore. Once Henry stepped into the loop of this universe, time does not matter because now he is stuck in this constant non-stopping loop, which, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind because we're going to use that later. He's playing this reel for going through the studio over and over again, facing Bendy, meeting all these characters, all of that on a loop, constant loop. So one thing is for sure, that in order for this game to work with the part of not a prequel, not a sequel, yet having same characters in same universe, that loophole part that we just explained regarding Henry in Chapter 5 for Bendy and the Ink Machine is a solid option, and it just makes sense. More into that later. So coming to the second part, in the same trailer after Alice completes her line and we see the Ink Machine being reborn, we see these 5 flashing frames where we see a character. People and theorists jump to so many conclusions, most notably that this is one of the 3 characters that we've seen from the Butcher Gang. Now before anyone goes on to bash me in them comments that you're copying this YouTuber, they said, it's a Butcher Gang member and you're saying the same. Relax. I've tried to replace this character with so many others, but it just doesn't work and just doesn't make sense for where I'm going with this story. So how do we know this is one of the Butcher Gang? Well, if you see these 5 frames, you can actually compare them side by side. The Piper, one of the Butcher Gang members, he actually matches with this character. The item that it's holding, facial design, and most notable, its animation, the way it swings that item, it just matches with the Piper. So now we know who is this character. We need to ask one more question within the same niche. Why him? Why Piper? Why specifically this character? Why Butcher Gang? Well, to make it fair, Butcher Gang were pushed in the story as one of the mysterious creatures. They look like failed experiment of ink prank gone wrong type of video you would see on YouTube nowadays. Failed test subjects, if you want to take that. However, one of the most fair explanation to this is that the Butcher Gang are considered one of the violent ones out of all the enemies apart from boss fights. Heck, even Alice Angel is sick and tired of these getting reborn and messing with everything. Every other inky character that we've seen and faced has some sort of soul or personality or history with the company or Joey itself. These 3, they have nothing. Well, at least the game didn't tell us anything explicitly. Yet they're pushed as some annoying 3 enemies that you would find kissing company's CEO or boss arse just to save their own skin. While that doesn't technically apply to these 3, in some way these 3 are kind of violent and dangerous, and they could be proved as a bigger threat. Even Alice was scared of these messing and being a threat to her. So if you want trouble, you know who to call. But one of the good and reasonable explanation to them showing this character is to us, the player, finally learning about Butcher Gang and their history with the company and Joey the boss, as they're one of the many characters that we are yet to learn about. So going back to this game, let's try to answer some more questions. One of the things that intrigued me regarding this is the summary and the message for this game. Over the course of last couple of months, on Joey Drew Studios' Twitter account, they've been posting letters every day that could give clue to what we're about to get in this new game. Letters such as K, R, A, D, you get the point. And mashing them all together, you would get yourself this crap. Yeah, they even had a comma in there as one of the letters. Cool. But seriously though, read them other way around, you would get Benevolent Demon. Someone has reawakened the dark. Someone, huh? Speaking of Demon and Dark, we haven't talked about the title itself. The title is not Bendy and the Ink Machine 2, but it's called Bendy and the Dark Revival. Now I want you to pay attention to this. Last time the title was Bendy and the Ink Machine. Bendy, the demon that we were all afraid of and based in Chapter 5, and the Ink Machine that kinda started all this. It just makes sense. The game is about both these things. But Bendy and the Dark Revival. Bendy here, the demon, we know who the freak is Bendy, but what is the Dark Revival? Who is getting revived? Is it the Dark Ink, the machine itself? Because clearly it ain't Bendy, because they already addressed his metaphor and now they're moving to someone else. Someone other than Bendy's Becher. Who could it be? It can't be Bendy, because if you go back to Joey Drew Studios' YouTube channel and hear some of the audio logs, or most specifically this one with the title question mark, 1 out of 3, where Henry says something like this.
There's crazy things happening down here. Monsters, demons, angels.
Notice something unusual here? He mentioned monsters, referring to the monsters we killed, aka boss fights. He mentioned demons, Bendy, and angels, aka Alice Angel. So Bendy is already out of the picture. However, what Henry says afterwards is interesting.
There's a secret hiding in the shadows. I just feel like I'm being watched. There's something at work here.
There's a secret hiding in the shadows. I just feel like I've been watched. That ain't no Bendy, cause our boy Henry already addressed him. So it has to be someone else, and that's not all. Another video that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, Unknown April 14. In this video, which is a mashup of all previous recordings, aka montage, in the end you can hear someone new, a voice that we never heard before.
How very interesting. Such knowledge.
Clearly, from the sound of it, the character that's talking is clearly fascinated by something, knowledge that they're learning here from these audio logs. I'm fascinated by them being fascinated out here. Hold on, what the freak is this whole loop? But the question is, who could it be? Clearly, the character that's fascinated by this is the one Henry mentioned as observer, someone that's following everything that's going around in the world of Henry, a benevolent demon that's running around observing. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a solid explanation to this. But in part 2, I know, look, it takes insane amount of time to research all this, let alone edit, and I'm a one-man army out here. So cut your boy some slack as I'm trying new things, and trust me, next part will be straight to the point, no shenanigans, no nothing. So with that being said, smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you will be notified and update as soon as we upload a part 2. Until then, you can watch other videos from the channel that I made, pretty cool, and trust me, you will enjoy them. You have these videos left and right. I'm Smack, and until next time, peace.